Hello, it's Jessie from b.a.r.e Flower Farm. For those of you who don't know me, I am in Zone 6A in New Jersey, and I am a first-year cut flower farmer. I'm making this video today because I want to talk about the important topic of insurance. It's important. It's not exciting, but important because at the end of the day, if you are selling to people, if you're going to markets, if you're even going to have volunteers on your property or even doing U-pick, insurance is something that you should think about because of liability reasons. So this video is for you if you are a smaller cut flower farmer like myself. And when I say small, I mean you could be growing in your backyard on, like a 1/10 of an acre to, like me, I'm planning on growing on three, or my house will sit on 3 acres, but I will probably grow on a 1/4 acre first. Technically, we're talking about people who are growing on under 500 acres. I'm pretty sure there are very few of us who qualify for that. And doing under $10,000 a year to, $250,000, right? So I know that's a big range, but we're really talking about people who are doing this as a hobby, as a side hustle. So this is not your full-time gig growing cut flowers. And the type of insurance information I'm talking about really caters to those type of smaller scale cut flower farmers. Now, if you are what I just described, a smaller cut flower farmer, then you technically fit under a hobby farmer definition, which is exactly what it sounds like, right? We're farming for a quote unquote hobby. This is not a full-time gig for us. And what that means is that there's also different types of insurance solutions out there for someone who is a hobby farmer versus someone who is a full-on commercial farmer. And the reason why hobby farming insurance exists is because your homeowner's policy is not going to cover for any farming related activity. That applies if you're only just selling one bouquet throughout the entire year, right? So we're talking about things like hurricane, wind damage onto parts of your property that you're using for your cut flower farming business. And I think for most of us, that's okay. It's not like a lot of us have greenhouses out there or tractors. So, the chances of you needing to use that kind of insurance is probably limited, but I am going to talk about the other types of insurance liabilities that you should be considering. So I think the main reason why you might be considering, or you will need to consider insurance, is because if you're selling at a farmer's market, a lot of them actually require you to get farmer's insurance. And the reason is because even though the farmer's market might have their own insurance, if something were to happen, it is very likely that the lawsuit would name both the farmer's market and yourself as a vendor in the lawsuit. And in that case, both parties need to be protected for liability. So that's why when I signed up for my local farmer's market, they actually said, we need to show documentation of your liability coverage, as well as having the farmer's market name listed within that liability coverage. Now, other reasons why you might want to consider insurance is just the liability piece of it, right? So when I say liability, I'm saying, let's say that you invite people to your farm, which is on your property. You're inviting them either for U-pick, you're inviting them for a bouquet bar. They trip over a stone, they get hurt, they break a leg. The other thing is that I know most of us are probably not thinking about employees, but even if you have people who are volunteering to help, just sometimes stuff happens, right? So, I view those things as you can do like a risk reward assessment here. There are certain risks I'm willing to take, but in my case, I have to consider insurance because of the farmer's market. When I was doing my research, I found that there were 2 types of insurance policies that could fit for someone like me. And the first one was that hobby farmer's insurance, and the second one was a farmer's market vendor specific insurance. So let's talk about the hobby farmer insurance. That is a more general type of insurance, meaning that it will cover liability on your property. So wherever you're growing, to the bouquet that goes to, let's say, a small business for CSA pickup, to the farmer's market, right? That is more comprehensive in terms of where that liability can happen. And when I looked at quotes, I was looking at anywhere from $500 to $1,000 per year. Then I was going through the archives of Growing for Market, which is actually a publication that I really recommend you looking into and subscribing. I paid, I think it was like $70 a year to basically get all of their archived content. It is basically articles that growers write for other growers. And I was able to find an article in there that talked about this farmers market vendor specific insurance. And again, it is exactly what it sounds like. This is insurance that covers you as a vendor at a farmer's market. So that means that if you are only selling at farmer's market as your main outlet, like that is a great plan for you. And that is really what I plan on doing. I'm not planning on having people come onto my property for U-Pick or for bouquet bars. I don't think I'm going to do, if I do a CSA, I'd probably be driving out, but you know, I don't think I would be having much other liability outside of, you know, the Mother Nature destroying some of my equipment, which is very limited anyway, right? So this type of insurance comes out to about $275 per year. And of course, you know, we're talking about the lowest coverage here, which is $1 million for single incidents, up to $2 million in aggregated limits, which, you know, seems like it would be more than enough, right? So this insurance also allows you to participate in more than one farmer's market. So all you have to do is pay this one-time annual fee, and then you can put as many farmers markets underneath it as you want. So I will put a link to that in my description, but it is being written by Campbell's Risk Management. And so what happened was there was actually like a group of farmers who was trying to get a farmer's market specific type of policy out there because they knew that there are a lot of people like me out there who don't need this full-on policy. And there are certain farmers markets in towns where they were at risk of not being able to operate because their vendors could not get insurance. So it's been running for a few years and it looks pretty reputable, especially since it was written in Growing for Market. In order to qualify for this insurance, you have to be able to do at most $250,000 in year of annual revenue. I think I will safely fall within those limits. And then you can't be growing marijuana or any type of tobacco products, right? So, you know, hopefully you're focusing on cut flowers and that will apply to you. Another really important thing to note about this insurance policy is that it is admitted insurance, and there's two types of insurance. There's admitted and non-admitted. Admitted basically just means that if something were to happen to this insurance company and they were to fall under, your policy will still be honored because the state will take over. If it's not admitted, it basically means that the state is not going to be your safety net if something happens to insurance. So if I'm going to be paying monthly premiums, even if it's $275, I want to make sure that the state is going to cover me if anything happens. So this will be covered if anything were to happen to Campbell's Risk Management. The application process seems really straightforward. You just apply directly on their site. I did it and it literally took like 3 minutes. So if you have any other types of insurance that you would recommend, whether it's for just a farmer's market vendor insurance or, you know, smaller hobby farming insurance, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And if this video is helpful, please consider subscribing and giving us a thumbs up. It really helps. I'll see you next time.